Ayan, hello mga ka-YouTube, kamusta kayo dyan? Pasensya na kanina, sinisetup ko na sabay-sabay sana itong mga live natin dito at saka Facebook and mga others. Wala ayaw gumana yung isang internet ko dito, hindi ko alam bakit. Pero mag-hi lang sana ako. Ayan, salamat again dun sa mga friends natin dyan sa Bicol University. Thank you very much for your kind invitation. Salamat din sa mga kameta natin on different platforms. I just want to say hi here. Ayan, kanina, so nakadalawang talk na tayo, isa pa, habol ko pa para sabi ko before going back to my other panel discussion. Mag-hi lang ako sa inyo and also kind of give an overview of yung mga dinidiscuss namin. So today, this morning, mga kameta, mga ka-YouTubers, there were essentially two things that stood out in our discussion. One is, kasi ganun yung discussion namin dito eh. If magsasanction ng US sa China, yung kanilang semiconductors, artificial intelligence, key industries, if Western companies and Japanese companies and Korean companies want to move out of China, anong alternative nila? So there is not one alternative but a combination of alternatives. So tinatawag na China Plus strategy. So India will be there, and in ASEAN it will be Vietnam, Thailand, Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia. So essentially 6 countries are seen as potential collective alternatives to a Chinese dominated global manufacturing regime, right? So ang ginawa na nung kanilang umaga was to look at the attributes, strengths, and weaknesses of each of these countries. And clearly, these 6 countries are extremely diverse. So for instance, Thailand is in top 10 countries in the world in terms of manufacturing sophistication, thanks to a lot of Japanese investments. No? So kung yung mga, I think mga Fortuner, marami mga Japanese cars sa Pilipinas actually are made in Thailand, and Thailand is kind of seen as Detroit of Asia, because a lot of Japanese cars, foreign cars are assembled there or made there at least up to 70-80% and then exported to the rest of the region. So that's why Thailand has high level of sophistication in terms of assembling or even manufacturing high-end industrial manufacturing products. The picture is not as impressive when it comes to India, Indonesia, and the Philippines. In fact, the Philippines is one of the most disappointing countries when it comes to Human Development Index, development of human capital. In terms of making sure we make most of our attributes, so doon sa economic competitiveness, ang ganda ng attributes ng Philippines, market size, human capital, etc. In general, and in relative terms compared to other peer nations, but our output is very low. So research development investment in the Philippines is very, very low, right? In terms of manufacturing sophistication, hindi ganun kataas ang Pilipinas. But interestingly, I think the Philippines was higher than Indonesia or I think India. So we look at many indices and indicators there. And what comes out, mga kameta, is the Philippines has some potential, but they're far from realized. And the Philippines has really have to up its game in order to be able to become a new platform for manufacturing and assembly of more high-end products. So the Philippines, for instance, does a lot of semiconductors, but konting value added lang. Because if you look at all global brands, they don't produce in one country. They produce different parts in different countries to bring down the cost and make it as cost-effective as possible. No? So one concern we have in the Philippines is that we want to take advantage of the China Plus and Thailand Plus. So, sana yung mga Fortuners made in the Philippines na lang, hindi lang Vios. Is Vios made in the Philippines? Or something like that, right? You want Taiwan Plus also strategy. Hindi lahat ng semiconductors na high-end build in Taiwan. Sana magawa sa Pilipinas. But in order for that to happen, you have to have the basis, the foundation for that. Industrial manufacturing base, human capital, engineering, science and technology training, research and development infrastructure. Kapos talagang Pilipinas sa lahat na yan. At dito kailangan talaga natin yung suporta ng gobyerno. The government of the Philippines has to have a serious trade industrial policy because the Philippines is being considered as one of the alternative hubs for high-end or more high-end investments that the West has been making in China, and now they're looking for alternatives. No? So mahalaga yan, mga kameta. The second thing that came out of our discussion is that as much as many countries don't want to be dependent on China, they find US not reliable as much. In fact, if anything, countries like Singapore, Malaysia, which have benefited a lot from manufacturing investments also from China, they're worried that the US Cold War with China and US sanctions on China's companies, Huawei, ZTE, whatever, will also affect their own economy because they very much rely on growth in China, investments from China, financial relations with China, even technology imports and technology cooperation with China. So there's a big worry that this US and China competition will not contain China or constrain China, which might be bad in itself for some countries, but not perhaps for us in the Philippines, but may create a lot of disruptions that hurt even more yung smaller countries like Singapore and Malaysia than, say, China itself. Because China is increasingly in a position to develop its own industries, its own manufacturing, global brands. While hindi pa ready yung Indonesia, Malaysia, and those kinds of countries. So these are fascinating discussions we're having here, Kamet. And later on, so right after this, mga Kamet, I also have to talk about the Philippines. How is the Philippines coming in? What are the areas we can improve? Oligarchs. How are oligarchs holding us behind? Hopefully, we can do an OBS proper discussion on that, because the Philippines has the highest concentration of growth in Asia. Also has highest concentration of power in terms of elected offices. And our constitution, I'm not for charter change per se, but I am for certain amendments to make us more competitive. But it's not just what the law says, it's also implementing and enforcing that law. It's also industrial and trade policy, those things. So maraming salamat mga Kamet. Ayan, humabol pa si Noemi Tablate dito. Shoutout din kay Cho Gomez. Mga yan lang pinag-usapan na. Si mahal ko kayo, inulit ko pa dito. Dapat kanina sabay-sabay kayo nung kabila sa Facebook. But I just wanted to say hi here. And then, before I leave, let's continue this discussion. Maraming salamat and have more of this talk, alright? Anyway, pangalawang talk. After another talk, dinoble ko pa dito. Yung isa sa Facebook, yung isa pa sa YouTube kasi walang yan. Mahina internet dito eh. Hindi ko magagamit tong router ko dito. So, hindi na on kanina ng YouTube when I was doing the Facebook. Ayoko naman ma-feeling ng mga taga-YouTube na hindi ko sila pinapansin dito lang sa Facebook. I know there are many people who just want to be on Facebook, YouTube, etc. Gets ko. Kaya inulit natin dito. But don't worry, we'll have more of this discussion. We'll talk more about this. And God willing, there'll be good news for the Philippines and siguro ideas I can write about and encourage our governments to do. So that sana yung mga magagandang kotse sa Philippines na gagawin, hindi na sa Thailand. Yung mga magagandang semiconductors, hindi lang sa Taiwan, but sa Pilipinas. So, Thailand plus, Taiwan plus, China plus, sana more and more comes to the Philippines. Yun ang gusto natin di ba? Yun ang gusto natin mangyari. So, may pag-asa pa mga Kameta. Yun lang. We just have to seriously think about things and come up with good strategies and all. Alright? Lalo-lalo na lumalapit ng Pilipinas sa USS defense part, we have to make sure this translates into economic sphere. Na hindi lang nagbibigay tayo ng mga bases sa Amerikano, we get also good investment, not only from US, but also from Japan, from Taiwan, from Australia, from Europe. We have to present the country as a great alternative to China, to Thailand, to Taiwan, so that more and more will be built in the Philippines, more jobs for us Filipinos, more jobs for our people, para hindi tayo kailangan bumunta sa ibang bansa. At maging proud tayo when we go abroad, we see a product, we look at it, made in the Philippines, mga ganyan. Proud ako na nakita ko sa nung bumili tayo ng Adidas sa Real Madrid. Estadio Bernabeu. I bought some Adidas for the training, football training. Pagtingin ko, made in Philippines. I want to see one day, hopefully, Filipino global brands. But let's just be realistic. For now, we just want to make sure that global brands make more of their stuff inside the Philippines than being imported by the Philippines. From China, from Thailand, whatsoever. Alright? Thank you very much, guys. Thank you so much sa lahat ng mga nagka-comment dito. Maraming salamat po kay Ma Victoria, kay Noemi Tablate, kay Cho Gomez. Yan, just your average Joe. Good luck din sa inyo. Talk to you guys soon. Let's do more of this. Good vibes. Alright? Adios.